Hi, Captain Steve for Ocean Life Network, and today I am on EdgeWater's 325cc. A lot to be impressed with on this boat. First, I want to start with what I'm impressed with from the construction standpoint. At EdgeWater, every boat that they make 23 feet and above is constructed with SPI, single piece infusion. It makes this hull 3 times stronger than one that's laid out in the typical fashion, and it's also lighter. But what's most impressive is the amount of standard features on this boat that are options with most other brands. Let's go over some of those and show you what I mean. A fiberglass bow filler with cushion and a table leg. The powder-coated rails, the stainless steel rod holders, and the Made Series combination rod and cup holders. At the bow, a windlass, recessed davit, plow-style anchor polished from Lumar, and a freshwater washdown. Easy access to the road storage right alongside. I also like that there's a cleat to take the load off the windlass when we're at anchor. To both sides of the bow, 8-inch pull-up cleats. A vacuum flush toilet with overboard discharge and extensive storage. Take a look at these seats. Updated upholstery for 2024. It comes in tan and white. Lumbar supports, venting, armrests, flip bolster. Under the seat, a 50-liter pull-out cooler. The integrated windshield goes all the way up to the hardtop. Each section is flat, so there's no distortion at curved edges, and at the bottom of the forward windshield, there's a vent. At the side of the console, quick access to all of your live well pumps, your fish box pump outs, and your raw water activation. At the transom, look at this, 56-inch wide transom seat. Also in the transom, live well, 66-gallon fish locker, and a sink with a pull-out sprayer. Standard engines, white 300 horsepower Yamahas. The leaning post is also standard. Rocket launchers above, to the sides, 32-gallon live well, a sink with a cutting surface and a pull-out sprayer, rail, storage underneath for tackle, and a tool holder. Look at this hardtop, standard. Includes LED lighting, E-box, pre-rigged for Taco Grand Slam outriggers, speakers, sunroof, sputter lights, LED nav lights, and powder-coated rails. And finally, the stainless rod holders at the stern and the shore power connectivity. Those are just some of the standard features that jump out at me as options on other boats. Now, there still are options available on this boat that you can choose from on the Build Your Boat site. And it includes things like color for the hull. You can color match the underside of the hardtop. There's the electronics. You can go up to dual 16-inch Garmin's and an open array radar antenna. So options are still available. Check it out on the Build Your Boat site. There's a lot more features on this boat, so let's go over them right now. We'll start with the utility of this cockpit. 7 feet 10 inches by 3 feet 8 inches. It's protected by padded bolsters that top out at 27 inches. The cap rails, look at this, measure 10 inches with the bolsters outside of that measuring 2.5 inches. There's undergunnel rod storage to both sides, a tow rail to give you a little bit extra stability when you're fighting a fish. Cleats are to both the fore and aft side of the undergunnel rod storage, and that's accessed through hawse holes. Scuppers for draining any shipped water overboard quickly. There's also a raw water washdown to the port side, a freshwater washdown to the starboard side. To the side of the console, 21 inches to the side deck, narrowing down at the seat here to 18 inches. Let's look at some of the features at the helm. The helm has the compass in line with the steering wheel instead of mounted in the center. I like that they've done that. Room for 2 16-inch displays, and notice that they're mounted up higher because the switching is lower, so it's more just a little glance down from the windshield to the screens. Nice job there. Engine display just in front of the steering wheel. VHF over to the left-hand side. I like that there are grab handles to the supports for the hardtop. To the bulwarks, lockable rod storage to both port and starboard to the 21-inch wide side decks. At the bow, a 38-inch wide seat just ahead of the console, huge index storage locker. Seating wraps around the bow. There's removable backrests. Of course, we already talked about the filler cushion. We can remove all of these cushions and make a full casting platform across the bow. To both sides, JL audio speakers, and there's a subwoofer to the port hand side, connectivity, more rod holders, and cup holder. EdgeWater designed the 325cc with a length overall of 31 feet 10 inches, a beam of 10 feet 2 inches, and a draft of 22 inches. If we start with her empty weight of 7,600 pounds, add in 33% fuel and 3 people we had on board, then we come up with an estimated test weight of 8,799 pounds. When we put her through her paces, we had about 10 to 15 mile per hour winds with relatively calm seas and protected waters. She was powered with the standard twin F300 Yamahas, turning 15 1/4 by 19 props, and with those engines spooled up to 6,000 RPM, we topped out at an average 55 miles per hour in opposing runs. Pulled back to 3,500 RPM, we found her best economic cruise to be 30.3 miles per hour. That's where she was burning just 16.2 gallons per hour that translated into a range of 504 statute miles, while still holding back a 10% reserve of the boat's 300-gallon total fuel capacity. In acceleration test, we reached planing speed in an average 3.8 seconds, cruised through 20 miles per hour in 5.8, 30 came and went in 8.6, and we passed 40 in 11.9 seconds. Boy, is this a fun boat to drive. It's got such a solid feel to it. You can feel how every wave hits it and it just gets transferred through the whole boat rather than just pound at the bow or something like that, and there's no pounding whatsoever. But the point being is it's so solid. Putting it into turns, she's got a heavy lean into the turns, which is kind of comfortable because it pushes you flat into the seat when you get into that turn. And as long as you bring the trim down, the engine trim down, you're not going to get any ventilation in the props whatsoever. She just digs in, and then when you straighten out, still dug in, she takes off again, and that's when you start bringing the trim back up again. Great feel to this boat. I'll tell you what, you can say that a boat is fun to drive, but until you've driven this one, you just don't get how fun it absolutely is. The words just don't give it justice. It's so forgiving in its handling characteristics. For example, when I was doing those hard cranking and banking turns, you put it into the turn and my instinct is telling me to brace myself for that hit that is going to throw me to one side and I've got to stop it from happening. It never happens on this boat. It just slides around no matter how tight you take that turn, slides around through the turn, and then if you add power in the middle of that turn, it kicks the stern around. No ventilation whatsoever on the propeller, so there's no need to adjust the trim. You straighten out and you're gone. It's just so forgiving. It's such a fun boat to drive. Aside from the excellent handling characteristics, this is clearly a boat that's made with both utility and luxury in mind, and I think EdgeWater really managed to pull it off with the 325cc. And that's my full features inspection and performance evaluation. For Ocean Life Network, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.